Hello students, guess what we're going to make? A beautiful, luxurious circle weaving. This project requires many steps, but you will be able to do each one as long as you have patience and forgiveness with yourself. The first step is to paint your whole plate nicely with warm or cool paint. I used concentric circles in cool colors, but you can choose colors that you enjoy. The next step is to trace a template with a pencil to make tick marks. This is going to start us on making your plate into a loom. So this example is a very hastily painted plate. I know you will do better, but I wanted to use this one so you could see how I press a template down over top so that it won't move. I'm pressing with my left hand and then marking 19 little pencil lines. Notice I'm not skipping ahead to another step, it's just time for pencil lines. Making sure not to rotate the template. Make sure you get in each and every little notch. Remove that template and then count your tick marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I held my finger down and counted around. So on the template there are notches cut out, but we don't need to do that on our loom. We need to make a little slit. So you're going to use scissors to make one small snip, just enough so that string will be able to be held in place. So here is my scissors, and I'm going to use the very center, kind of the strongest part of my scissors to cut something hard like a plate. If you're using the tips, it will not snip as easily. So I'm putting my scissors onto each pencil mark and cutting each one just in a little bit, not too far and not too little. We want to get the string hooked in just right. So again, make sure you pencil trace 19 tick marks. Make sure you snip to the inner rim, not too far, not too short. I will now be numbering each slit in kind of a peculiar order, but this will help me put string on my new loom. So on the back, be sure your name is there if it's not already, and use a pencil to number your loom, beginning with 1. And I drew a little dangly string symbol there because that's where my string will begin. Then I do 4, 5, 8, 9, 12, 13, 16, 17, 2, 3, then 6 and 7, 10 and 11, 14 and 15, then 18 and 19. Notice these numbers are on the slits themselves. Each slit is like a numbered doorway. And then if you want, you can add the little lines between the numbers that are close together. This will help you know where your string goes. Now it's time to get yarn. One controlled way of doing this in the classroom is to kind of lay the yarn between your 2 feet so that as you pull up lengths of yarn, it'll stay kind of contained in between your 2 feet like a soccer ball. You're going to need a lot for the first part of this project. So you're gonna pull 3 lengths up from the yarn as tall as you are. So there was my 3rd pull, and now I'm gonna snip down next to the ball of yarn. So here we go. I'm gonna put my string beginning in the back, and I can always tape this little tail down. That'll keep it from pulling out. Scrape it with my fingernail. Now I'm gonna pull the string across the front of the plate until it goes into the 2, and then I will pop it back out of the 3. So then I bring the string across the front again, put it into the 4, back out the 5, in 6, out 7, in 8, out 9, and so on. And you will see that in the back of the plate, there are some dashes where the string is connecting. And in the front of the plate, it's making a nice little spoked wheel or spider web. The string should not be so tight that the plate needs to bend, but it should not be loose either. So just make sure that your yarn is kind of firm across the front of your plate. Now, believe it or not, it is time to begin weaving. I start with the yarn kind of wadded up in my hands, and I can begin to use both of my hands, helping one another, to weave my wad of string around in a circle. Weaving means over, under, or a similar pattern. And I'm gonna start going left. Whichever direction you begin, you'll need to remember that you are going that direction the whole rest of the time. If you make a mistake and start spinning your wheel the other way, then you'll unweave what you just did. So every 4 or 5 over-unders, I'm going to give a gentle tug on my string, see that? So that it can kind of snail closed a little bit. When we start our weaving, it will not look that interesting right in the middle of our wheel, but if we keep on going, it will look amazing after time. Right now I'm weaving black yarn on black yarn, and again, that won't look too interesting, but when I'm ready for some new yarn, I can cut this yarn off and tie on a new string and continue my weaving. If you forget where you are over or under, you can look back at where your string has come from. You'll see it that it's gone over or under a particular spoke of the wheel. So here's another plate, and you can see that you can always add something interesting like a bead. Just put it down on your yarn. I wanted to show you also, how do I end one thread and begin another? Well, here I am getting about 4 feet of yarn, and I'm going to kind of just tie these 2 ends together like a shoelace. So I make an X, and then I put one of the yarns through the hole, and I do it twice. I'm going to clump together my yarn. You can even wrap it around 2 fingers and make a nice little loop or ball. And I'm gonna continue going around the loom. Remember, you can do 4 or 5, maybe even 8 or 9 weavings, and then you give it a gentle tug to make sure that everything is going around. The little knot that is holding my 2 strings together, I'm just going to keep an eye on it and make sure that it tucks behind my weaving so that it's not sticking out of the front or looking sloppy. And I continue until I feel like my weaving is complete.